Good morning. Let's try that one more time. Good morning. I am Reverend Kelly McNeil, and it is my honor to serve this congregation as your minister of congregational life, and my pronouns are she, her. Welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church. We acknowledge that we live on the ancestral lands of the Adena, Hopewell, Wyandotte, Miami, Seneca, Erie, and Cayuga people. May we pledge to remember and learn from our history so that we do not forget what happens when we do not respect the inherent worth and dignity of all. I invite you now to please rise in body or in spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 1008, in your teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Good morning. My name is Julie Pinsino, and I am happy to serve this congregation as a member of your Board of Trustees. Welcome to First UU. We are so glad that you are here, whether you're joining us online or here in person. Whether this is your first or your 100th time visiting us, welcome. If this is your first time visiting us, be sure to stop by the welcome stand out in the hall to receive your first-time visitor gift if you haven't already gotten one. We invite everybody to let us know that you are here today by scanning the QR code on your order of service or on the screen there. Here you can also find an order of service, our Joys and Sorrows form, and our donations page. We have 2 announcements this morning. Don't forget that our mid-year meeting is next Sunday, February 19th, and the meeting will begin at 12:45, and will be hybrid, so you can attend either online or in person. We will need a quorum, so please plan to attend. And now, we have an announcement from our rummage sale team.
A little drama here.
Did you do your homework? I mean, you were asked to start rummaging through your house for items to donate to the March 25th rummage sale.
It's getting filled up, Susan. Here it is.
I've been to your house, Mary Lou. That box is not big enough for all the stuff you need to get rid of. You need 10 of these.
Hey, you're a real friend in front of all these people. Thanks a lot. I mean, shock, surprise, I'm going off script here. Do I need some treatment for separation anxiety? Tell me.
No. Well, listen, you need to get rid of some stuff, but we all do. I have a donation box in my dining room. Can't miss it. And it's almost full.
Well, guess what? I found this clock.
Mary Lou, please only donate items that are clean and in working condition, no parts missing, and usable, for heaven's sakes.
Well, I guess I don't know what to donate, Susan. Tell me.
Okay, so you ready? You got your notebook? Okay, arts and collectibles, computers, electronics, exercise equipment, furniture, gardening tools, household items and small appliances, musical instruments, office stuff, pet supplies, records and CDs, sporting goods, and tools.
I can't write that fast. Would you please repeat the list?
No. But it will be on flyers, on the rummage sale table in Beach Hall, and in the emails we send out.
Okay, I guess I'll start rummaging today. Everybody together, ready, set, rummage!
Rummage!
I want to thank everybody who is helping with the rummage sale this year. We have a wonderful group of amazing volunteers, so thank you. We would now like to invite any children who want to help us bring in the light to meet Nikki back in the back of the sanctuary. Everyone else, please join me in centering ourselves as we listen to this morning's prelude.
And now it's time for our children to bring in the light. Our chalice lighting words today are after the 13th century Islamic mystic Ibn Arabi. May our hearts expand to take on any form, a meadow for gazelles, a cloister for monks, for the idol's sacred ground, a Kaaba for circling pilgrims, the tables of the Torah, the scrolls of the Quran. For we remind ourselves, our creed is love. Wherever its caravan turns along the way, may that be our belief, our faith, and our guiding flame.
Thank you, Kyla, for your help lighting our chalice this morning. Good morning. Oh, thank you. I'm Amber Scott, your Director of Religious Exploration, and my pronouns are she, they. Please remember to send your children to class with their coats, as many of our young folks enjoy exploring the playground together every Sunday. To volunteer or learn more about our family programs, you can email me at amber@firstucolumbus.org. Today's story is called The Worst Princess, written by Anna Kemp and illustrated by Sarah Ogilvy. Once upon a time, in a tower near you, lived a lonely princess, the Princess Sue. Someday, she sighed, my prince will come, but I wish he'd move his royal bum. I've waited for 100 years. I'm getting stiff. I'm bored to tears. I've read the books. I know the score. I've grown my braids down to the floor. I really need to get some air to see the world and cut my hair. Then, just as Sue was about to scream, a prince appeared. 'Twas like a dream. Oh, princess, pretty as a pea, I've journeyed far to rescue thee. I fought, I won, I shocked, I awed. You should have seen me swing my sword. I've slain all kinds of vicious foe. That's fab, said Sue. Now, can we go? Your true love's kiss should do the trick, so pucker up and kiss me quick. They charged off on a dashing steed. Whoopee! Cried Sue. At last I'm freed. Today I start my happy end. But then she saw around the bend. Where are we going, my prince, my love? Back to my castle, my turtle dove. My perfect peach, my precious flower. You have a penthouse in the tower. I'd rather ride a horse, said Sue, and do all kinds of fun stuff too. Too bad, said Prince. You know the rules. Didn't you listen at princess school? It's me who wears the armor here, and you wear dresses. Are we clear? Just smile a lot and twist your curls. Dragon bashing's not for girls. Alone in her tower, Sue started to spit. What a disaster! My prince is a twit! Then in the skies, she suddenly spied a fearsome dragon with flashing eyes. Sue didn't run. She had no fear.
Instead, she had a bright idea. "Hey you," she called, "with the scary claws. Fancy some tea for your fiery jaws?" "Oh yes," said the dragon, "what a relief. That pesky prince is giving me grief." "Me too," said Sue. "The sneaky rascal has locked me in this stupid castle." "The twit," gasped the dragon. "That just won't do. We need to teach him a thing or two." The dragon sniffed some nasal spray, then blew the tower clean away. "Princess Sue, that's quite enough." The prince was back and in a huff. "Where's your tower? Just look at your dress. You really are the worst princess. Also, Susan, beg your pardon, why is there a dragon in my garden?" "Perhaps I am the worst princess," laughed Princess Sue. "My hair's a mess, my tower's a wreck, but I don't care. I've booked a flight with Dragon Air." The dragon sniffed, then with 2 snorts, set alight the princely shorts. From that day on, the newfound friends toured the land from end to end, making mischief left and right for royal twits and naughty knights. "You know," said Sue as they drank their tea, "we're a great team, you and me." The dragon's belly shook with laughter, and they both lived happily ever after. The end. In this story, Princess Sue gives up traditional ideas about romantic love in order to pursue self-love and friendship. Today, we invite you to think about some of the stories you've been told about love and to imagine the new and different love we need to move bravely into the future. I now invite the congregation to form a sheltering arc of love as we sing our young people back to their families and out to class.
Our centering words this morning are "Love is a Choice" by Carter Hayward. We are not automatic lovers of self, others, world, or God. Love does not just happen. We are not love machines, puppets on the strings of a deity called love. Love is a choice. Not simply or necessarily a rational choice, but rather a willingness to be present to others without pretense or guile. Love is a conversion to humanity, a willingness to participate with others in the healing of a broken world and broken lives. Love is the choice to experience life as a member of the human family, a partner in the dance of life, rather than as an alien in the world or as a deity above the world, aloof and apart from human flesh.
Beautiful. Good morning. My name is Reverend Kathleen Fowler, and my pronouns are she and her, and I have the privilege of serving you as your Minister of Pastoral Care. And I also have the privilege of introducing our guest speaker today. Please welcome Reverend Susan Ritchie to our church this morning. Reverend Ritchie has served as minister of the North Unitarian Universalist congregation in Lewis Center since 1996. She's the author of 2 books and the director of the House of Unitarian Universalist Studies at the Methodist Theological School. Reverend Ritchie has served a 6-year term on the National Board of the UUA. I would also like to note that First UU of Columbus proudly ordained her in 1995. So please welcome back Reverend Susan Ritchie.
Thank thank you so much for that warm welcome. It always does feel like coming home here, so I'm glad to be with you. And how perfect that our theme is love. But what do we talk about when we talk about love? Those words are the title of a favorite short story of mine by Raymond Carver. And in that short story, he describes an evening spent together by two suburban couples, nothing fancy, conversation, drinks, snacks. But the discussion turns to what counts as love. And every single thing each person brings up is clearly not love at all, such as when one of the women speaks of the abuse she endured in a former relationship as love. And so the evening just peters out, and so does the story. It ends in silence and in darkness, and a perfectly plausible explanation is that what we talk about when we talk about love is nothing? What do we talk about when we talk about love? Of course, as Unitarian Universalists, we talk about love a whole lot. It was the early Universalists in 18th century New England that started the conversation about love, and it may not sound daring today, but in that time and that place, to define God as love, when God was almost universally understood to be stern and remote and untouchable, to define God as love was a radical act. And the Universalists, they knew what they were talking about when they talked about love. They were quite specific about it. Indeed, most of Universalist theology is about how we can derive what we know of God's love from what we know of human love, in particular, what we know of an ideal of parental love. Hosea Ballou, who was the theologian who did the most to promote this understanding of love, is full of folksy tales to make this point and to help us to see how parental love and God's love are much the same. One story he told is about a man who came to him because he was concerned that his young adult son might be on the path to hell. Hosea Ballou had concerns about the young man's behavior, but he sure didn't think he was going to hell. And so he shared with that man this story. He said, I know. How about one night when your son is coming home drunk from the bar, we hide in a ditch, and when he passes by, we grab him and throw him into a big flaming fire. Of course, the man said, I would never do that. I love my son. And of course, I'm sure you can imagine Ballou's response. And so does God. One of the things that fascinates me about this conversation about love is how contagious it proved to be. The more the Universalists talked about God as a warm, loving parent, the more the idea changed about what actual human fatherhood should be like. As God came to be seen as more loving and kind, human parents, fathers, were increasingly encouraged to be in relationship with their own children, not as stern providers or disciplinarians, but as loving, caring, and warm nurturers. This love changed the world. Another quality of that Universalist love, that again is so specific, is that it denied any connection between love and worthiness. This love was absolutely unconditional. And of course, Ballou had a story about that too. He said, think about the time when your child fell into a mud pit and you rushed to save him, and then you took him home and you carefully cleaned him off. Did you love the child because the child was clean? Or did you clean the child because you loved him? So as contemporary Unitarian Universalists, we're still talking about love. The social justice wing of our movement, of course, was first known as standing on the side of love, and then as we became more sensitive to ableist language, side with love. It's a compelling message, and I know when I wear my yellow Side with Love t-shirt, I feel really great about it. I once, at a protest, even had someone come up to me, see the t-shirt, and say, "Oh, good, the love people are here." Nothing not to like about that. And then, of course, at General Assembly this year, we're considering changes to the covenant that holds us together as congregations inside the Unitarian Universalist Association. These changes would replace what we now know as the principles and the purposes, but I'm fascinated with the direction that these changes are taking. It promises to name 6 of our shared values, but it puts love literally at the center of those values, and it makes this statement: love is that power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. I like this revision, and I like our history of love and our history as love people. But I have to admit, I still sometimes ask myself the question, what are we talking about when we talk about love? What do we mean? But more importantly, how do we do it? In my own thinking, it was a helpful step to realize that the meaning of love has not been stable across history or generations or cultures. It's been a highly changeable thing. To give you just one example, the kind of romantic love that we celebrate on Valentine's Day, that clearly had its origin in the medieval practice of courtly love. And of course, the whole idea of courtly love is that you would celebrate a beloved in song and poems and romantic actions. But we forget, in that time, courtly love was precisely something you would never, ever think to do with your spouse. Their understanding of romantic love was something that happened outside of a marriage. They felt marriage was for the business of establishing a household, raising children. And why on earth would you conduct business while intoxicated by something like love? And now, look what we do. Now we seem to have this idea that one's partner should be pretty much everything, right? Your partner should be your best friend, your lover, the co-parent of your children, a good business partner, good in that establishment of the household of life, and your romantic interest all at the same time. There are more than a few psychologists who think we might actually be putting too much weight on this particular understanding of love. Theological notions of love, they follow the same process too. They've been highly changeable through time, and it is possible that right now we are trying to live out too many notions of what love means at the same time. There's a philosopher by the name of Simon May who has a specific concern about this. He's worried that we began arguing that God is love, but we ended up by deciding love is God. And his concern about that is we've taken a secular understanding of love as love between humans and tried to fit it in a God-shaped whole. His specific concern is that this means we're going to fail, that model of God's love was unconditional and enormous in a way that we human beings just can't live up to. He worries that if we make love the center of our theology, we've made ourselves God. And if we make ourselves God, we're bound to fail. So I think about this and I recognize his concern in some ways. After all, human love is peculiar and it's highly particular. I might love all animals and all people, but I love some particular animals and some particular people much more than others. And we even recognize this in our speech, right? If you're frustrated with someone and you can't quite bring yourself to extend your fullest self to them, what do you say? God love them. Implication, of course, being God love them because I can't. But maybe there's something beautiful, after all, about our messy, messy human ways. So I grew up Unitarian Universalist, and we moved a lot, and we moved around the country. And my parents kept telling me that the churches that we were going to belonged to the same faith tradition. I didn't see a lot of evidence for that, right? I mean, I remember going from the All Souls Church in Washington, D.C., with its powerful civil rights commitments, to a very humanist congregation in Brookfield, Wisconsin, that at that time was being sued by the state attorney general for obscenity, for teaching about your sexuality. And then from there, we ended up in Southern California, where a barefoot minister in a white robe greeted me warmly and asked me what my spirit animal was. As a child, I didn't have many ways of knowing how to understand how all of these things fell together. But I finally came across a technique that helped, that I use to this day when I meet a new Unitarian Universalist congregation. I say to myself, what peculiar love is this? It's helped me realize that even if we can't have a perfect universal consistency, that doesn't mean there isn't something at the core that is integral and intact. So what would a human model of love look like? A human model of love that would acknowledge that love is powerful and transforming and we are imperfect? I think we can actually find part of the answer if we go back to this proposed change to Article 2 of our covenant as an association. It's a covenant. And what do covenants do? Covenants are, of course, promises, promises about which we are completely sincere, and promises from which we will also eventually fall short. If we promised as individuals to always put love at the center of our actions, to always have love be the agency with which we engage the world, we would indeed be setting ourselves up for a kind of failure. But that is not the promise we make. As a religious community, the promises we make together, not any one of us alone. And what we promise is that we promise to support those actions and those conditions that will maximize our chances of being able to do the next right thing with love. Not perfection, but to do the next right thing with love. And we do this knowing that we're not going to get it right, but we can't see that as a problem. We can't see that as something wrong. We can't see that as an opportunity to fix or to punish. It must only be an opportunity to return to our shared values with authenticity, curiosity, and compassion. I mentioned Simon May before. He's the philosopher who thinks we're in danger of making love God. The more I've thought about his argument, the more I think he has discounted a central teaching of the Abrahamic traditions of Islam, of Christianity, of Judaism, which of course is precisely to understand the covenantal nature of love. and all of the scriptures associated with these traditions make it clear that humans have a lot to learn about love, but that God also had a lot to learn about love, and that even God had to return to and walk away from the table over and over again. I think this is what I like best about love, how it's a radical mixture. It's a radical mixture of the sacred and the world, the ideal and the material, one straining in the direction of the other. So what do we talk about when we talk about love? The couples in Raymond Carver's short story, they couldn't finally articulate love, but does that mean that they weren't living it? What if they were living it every moment of that evening they spent together, living it in their commitment to the conversation, living into it with their commitment to stay in that room, silent and dark as though it was, and simply companion each other? Perhaps then we don't need to talk about love when we talk about love. Perhaps we just need to pay attention to the questions that love poses. What promises can I make to my fellow beings? What more might I promise? And most importantly, how can I renew the promises I have already made? Take another script with me.
Thank you, Susan. Our Share the Plate recipient for February is People's Justice Project. Founded in 2014, the People's Justice Project builds the power of Black and brown people disproportionately impacted by state violence, mass criminalization, and incarceration by centering community organizing and leadership development. People's Justice Project has supported the families of Casey Goodson Jr., Andre Hill, Makia Bryant, and many others killed by local police as part of their work for change. First UU has partnered with PJP in multiple ways since 2016, from providing meeting space to showing up to actions during research on Columbus policing. We hope to continue and strengthen our relationship. I invite you to use the QR code, text the number on your screen, or go to our website, firstucolumbus.org, and click the Donate tab to share as you feel called and are able. Our offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you for your generosity.
Nathan, we are so privileged to have you here with us. Do you agree? So a call is going out with Reverend Susan's words. What promises can I make to my fellow beings? And perhaps more importantly, how might I renew the promises already made? Thank you. For your consideration this morning, I offer you the words of Mark Nepo, spiritual writer, poet, and philosopher, in his poem, I Promise You. I was in a circle of those who climbed from the sea of trouble onto the shore of a day like today. We were tired, aglow, broken. Out of a sudden silence, a young woman stood and sang, "You've got a friend." When I heard, "You just call out my name and I'll be there," I saw you all. No vow has meant more to me. Yet there was a time I couldn't get there. And the time I was afraid to come for some dark reason, too familiar for me to understand. I am sorry for the wounds my absence has caused. We try, like birds, awakened by a tone of light, to fly into each other's needs. And always wind throws us off. I am so sorry not to be what I promised. But like a whale whose tears only add to the ocean that slows him down, I swim to you. I swim to you. This morning we hold up the devastating 7.8 earthquake in the city of Antakya, Turkey, in the early morning hours of February 6th. The hardest hit town in the Turkey-Syria earthquake zone, Antakya, had almost every home destroyed, killing at least 28,000 in the Turkey-Syria zone. Yet out of this devastation comes what some might call miracles. Amid shouts of joy, a 10-day-old baby girl, Yuz, and her mother were rescued. A 4-month-old girl, Aben, was rescued. And a young boy named Poraz was rescued after many, many grueling hours trapped in destruction. And as an aside, the city was named after the nearby historically important city of Antioch that was founded in 300 BC and was a great trading city on the Silk Route, was a center of early Christianity and later an important city for Hellenistic Judaism. We hold up the recognition of Black History Month, Brian Lanker's book project, I Dream a World, Portraits of Black Women Who Changed America, and it's featured in the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery. The Smithsonian recently acquired all 76 portraits from the Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer series, and this exhibit features portraits of women who have made significant contributions in many disciplines. One featured woman is Lee Chase, the undisputed queen of Creole cuisine. She was a restaurateur and world-renowned chef who championed civil rights. Defying segregation laws, Lee Chase seated both Black and white customers at Dookie Chase's restaurant, making it one of the few places in Jim Crow-era New Orleans where civil rights activists of all races could gather publicly to strategize. And finally, we hold up the Bexley Middle School students who left their classroom on Friday, supported by the staff, in a show of support and solidarity as the district heals from racism. On Friday, a Bexley teacher resigned from the district after a racist image was shown in the middle school announcements, an instance that sparked racial reckoning within the community. May the world hold more individuals who cannot let go of the thread of love and hope. And now I welcome Sharon Hammersley, our pastoral listener this morning, to read the caring cards and announcements that you submitted in the past week and this morning.
We have two joys and a sorrow. I'll read the sorrow first. Brad B. reports that his nephew's 17-month-old boy died in his sleep this past Thursday. We send our love and care to Brad and all of his family in this loss. And Cindy W. says, thanks to the welcome team and ushers for joyfully welcoming us into the building and sanctuary this morning. We always want to appreciate the folks who are the face of our congregation out front in the morning, so thank you very much. And we received this morning from RL, who says, I'm feeling grateful for the care my husband is receiving during and after his hospital stay. We wish you both peace, joy, and healing. We have two caring cards this morning. We send healing thoughts to Amy E., who has long-term COVID. Our healing thoughts are with Carla and John R. Carla's sister-in-law, Deb, fell, suffering a head injury, broken ribs, and a pelvis. She's still in the hospital. Please visit the caring table in Beach Hall after the service each week to say hello to our volunteers and sign caring cards that will be sent to people within our community. Even if you don't know the person, I can testify personally that receiving a caring card is one of the best things that I can have in my day, whether it's about a joy or a sorrow. May we hold these joys and sorrows and all those yet unspoken gently in our hearts.
I invite you now to please rise in body or in spirit as we sing hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us. This is in the gray hymnal, and the words will also appear on your screen.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within.
to take each other's hands and remain standing if that's comfortable for you. And now we extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love.
Thank you.